I guess we should start from the beginning. I built him a 2000 S10 that was a very, very clean, low mileage truck I bought for little to nothing back when cars and trucks were nothing. I bought him it for his 50th birthday, and it was this very beautiful black everything. And I guess you can probably already tell where this is going. The whole truck was black, and I was out doing some things in Mexico, and I was on the highway. We were trying to get a roll race in with another buddy of mine that had an S10, and we ended up racing, and I beat him. You know, it was sweet. You know, got a real big head, you know. Slowed down, and there was this Mustang with us, and he was a blower Mustang, but he was a younger kid that, to me, he knows, and he'll tell you straight up that he's not very good at driving a manual car, and it was a manual blower, you know, 5.0 Mustang, which should definitely walk the dog on this truck. So I was slowing down in the slow lane. He was in the lane next to me, and we were on a 4-lane wide highway, and I slowed down. We were doing like 30, 40 mile an hour, and I guess the car behind us didn't know we were going that slow, and he was definitely speeding and on his phone, and had to have, he plowed the back of me. I mean, I'll bleep bloop some pictures and stuff in there, but it was a bad ordeal. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning probably, you know, when Mexico things happen, and the thing got totaled. So he rear-ended it, pushed the bed, the tailgate, the bumper. He basically hit the bumper. It was another S10 hit this the black S10. It pushed everything into the bed was way up in the air. The seats were sticking out of the back of the cab. The bed was pushed up into here. The door wouldn't even open. So I had to climb out the passenger side. And luckily this thing had good seats in it and stuff. I was a little sore, but it wasn't too bad. You know, I've wrecked plenty of things that have been way worse, but it more so sucks because it was not even my truck. It was my dad's truck that I built for him when I was 20. So we went about getting that thing redone, and at that point I knew I was kind of in the wrong because I was street racing, and the guy was kind of in the wrong because he was on his phone, but he didn't really admit it, and I didn't really want to get the cops involved. And then technically this truck is illegal because it has an LS motor in it, and you're not supposed to have anything more than what came in at factory per the Missouri rules or whatever, but everybody does it anyways. So we ended up finding this truck out of Mississippi. We were actually going on a family vacation and found this truck, and it was clean, it was cheap for the right price. You know, this was prime COVID months. Got this truck in 2020, summer of 2020, and so, you know, this is prime COVID months and stuff. We went on vacation, found this truck in Biloxi. No, not Biloxi. We found it in San Antonio, Mississippi, right outside of basically Memphis, Tennessee, about 30 minutes south down, I think, I forget what highway that is, but we were right down there, stopped by, and we found this truck. It was originally a 4.35 speed truck. The engine had a knock, the transmission was missing third gear. It was basically a really, really nice truck that somebody brought to the salvage yard, and they drove it around like their own backyard salvage yard, just driving it around, getting parts for, you know, people that called that needed parts. And we picked it up. So we picked it up for $1,100. We needed a frame. I guess I should have mentioned that. The frame on that other truck was bent, smashed, tweaked, everything. So we needed a frame at least, and a cab. So we got a frame and a cab, but we got a whole truck, and it was actually in fairly good shape. This rocker has got some rust, but it was the cleanest truck we could find at the time because this happened in July, and I already bought tickets July 1st for LS Fest for this truck. So we had to make it go, and it took us, I'll drop some pictures and clips into the video, but it took us right about 16 days to tear the other truck down, put it in this truck, and get it running. We swapped everything over. So it has a 9-inch rear end in it. We swapped the 9-inch. We actually swapped the whole everything. We swapped the leaf springs and everything. We took the leaf springs off of the other frame, put it on this truck because it already had new bolts on it. I didn't want to put new bolts in it or anything like that. I figured the 4, shackle bolts were going to be cheaper than freaking putting the caltracs in there. And when you put caltracs in, you got to put solid bushings in the front. So we needed those leaf springs. The drive shaft was good. It's got a 9-inch rear end in it, so that went in there. The exhaust went right on there. The engine, transmission, the mounts, everything went in there. The only thing I did have to do is re-notch the frame. It had to be cut for the oil pan just because that's how it goes. But let's see if I can get this open. S10s are dumb because they don't have spring hinges to hold the hood up, but it's whatever. You could probably make it or fab it, so they're not dumb. But there it is. It's everything fit just fine in there. Again, going back together, we just need the brackets, and this truck will have AC and heat. It's got heat, but it needs AC, so everything basically works perfect on this truck right now. So it's a 5.3, just like a 2001, 99 to 02 5.3. Drive-by cable. It's got a BTR stage 3 truck cam in it, which was the old cam that was in the 5.3 and the single cab when it blew up. So I put that cam in here, and we bought a converter, a cheap converter. Transmission was a cheap $700 4L60 rebuild from a local shop here. And yeah, this truck runs exceptionally well for what it is. It runs like a 950 in the 8th, which is kind of slow, but for a 5.3 truck cam, that's fairly fast. A 9 in the 8th is like a high 13, probably mid 13. So we haven't really had it down to quarter mile track, and when we did, it ran like a 14.1, but it was on the 10 bolt, so it was spinning left and right. So we haven't been there yet with the 9-inch, and then we wrecked it and everything, and it's just been kind of driving because it was a little tough on me more so than anybody. But when it went out, it was I wrecked it. I was a little bummed because this was the coolest thing I've ever done for my father. My father had to sell a lot of his cool cars back in the day just to keep the house we live in. So this was something that I kind of did to repay him. We put it back together, and he's been driving it, and we haven't really made it to the racetrack yet. So, but he was driving it the other day, and the 4L60 started doing 4L60 things, and I don't know if the converter is taking the transmission out or what, but it slips. And overdrive, it's like it never locks the converter up. So I don't know if the converter is garbage or what, but after the accident, we have had a major transmission leak problem, and I can't really pinpoint where it's coming from because it only leaks when it sits. If you're driving it and everything like that, it don't leak, but it leaks when it sits, and it just seems like it's coming out of every orifice possible. So I don't know if we tweaked something or kinked something or what in that accident, but I think it's time for a decently built 4L60E, because I don't know about you guys, a lot of people shame on the 4L60Es, but when you put a 4L80E in a light truck like this, it adds weight and it robs power. So if you can get a good 4L60E to hold up in these lighter trucks, which usually you can, for what we're trying to do, we're trying to run like 1250s, maybe a high 11 if we're lucky, and drive this thing anywhere with heat and AC. So that's all Dad wants to do, is he wants a cruiser with it, so, but we're not going to be able to do it with a truck cam and a 5.3. So being these things are kind of a pain to pull the trans out of the trucks separately sitting here, I think we are going to pull the trans out, get it rebuilt, put a good converter in it, like a 3600 or bigger maybe converter in it, and we're going to put a huge car cam in it and maybe do some head work to this thing so we can get the compression up a little bit, get it to flow more, put a little bit bigger injectors in it, and go from there. So this is just going to be an NA street build. We might find I have an LS1 sitting in there. It might find its way in here because those things run good. So that might be what happens. I think it'll be a good fit. And I've got a guy that wants just a simple 5.3 truck motor with a simple cam and everything, and it sounds good. You'll see, you'll hear it. So that's probably what will happen with this engine and this truck. So this will hopefully happen within the next year or so. We got a lot of projects, but Dad's got his shop. I'm hopefully going to have mine in the next year or so, and hopefully we can get cranking out. So my plan is to get this guy done and work on the single cab, and then it's all hands on deck on this thing and everything else, which it's not going to be that hard. It's just going to be money, time. It doesn't even take long to wrench on these things, LS motors and stuff like that. So that's probably what's going to happen. But I figured this would be a pretty cool little swap video for you guys that would like it, some information on it. And another thing, if you guys have questions, again, like I said in one of my other videos, if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, if you think I'm stupid, if you think I'm smart, whatever, comment, ask the question. I'll tell you the answer. Take it if you want, throw it in the trash if you don't. I don't care. I'm here to help, and this thing's got 30,000 miles on it probably. It's been to Kentucky 2 or 3 times now, and it gets about 21 miles a gallon no matter how you drive it. So any questions, comments, concerns, I'm here. This thing will be on the channel more. We will get some time on this thing, and maybe some go fast stuff. So Dad's S10. I probably need to figure out some names for all these trucks because we got so many, but we have the S10, the single cab, and the extended cab, and then we have the girlfriend's Camaro. You know, we're probably never gonna have another one of them because, in my opinion, they're not the most sought after in my eyes, but she loves it, and that's all that matters. So we're gonna end this video off, but I figured we'd do a little preview of the old S10 since nobody's seen it. You know, I've walked by it again, like I said, with the single cab, and say, hey, it's Dad's S10. You know, it's got a 5.3 in it. That's about it. But here it is. Pretty clean swap. Of course, the ugly truck intakes needs to go. But other than that, hey, it looks familiar too, don't it? They're very slim and they fit on just about anything, so those things work great. It's got the IATs down in this thing a lot, so